It's a frosty morning down here on the waterfront, and it's calm. There's some moisture on the deck here, and probably it's on the ground too. So I guess we did just get down to freezing, but you also get a little bit of extra cooling. Well, actually, you can get a lot of cooling from evaporation. So sometimes when the air gets dry up above, so we get some cool, drier air in, and then we have some moisture on the ground, and it's cold, but the air temperature might not quite be down to freezing, but because the air is drier than the ground, the moisture starts to evaporate off of the ground or off of the here the boardwalk, and that evaporation takes heat with it and causes additional cooling, and then you get sometimes you get the frost if the air temperature is close to freezing but not quite at freezing, and you can still get frost. I don't know if we quite got I don't know if the air temperature wasn't supposed to get down to 32 last night, but it might have just got down to 32, but definitely got close, and the air got dry, so it makes for a really nice frost. At least the water has really gotten clear. And that sun, it's just so beautiful. We're almost to the first day of winter. I think today is December 15th. 15th, I think it's the 15th. And so the first day of winter, I believe, is the 21st. Usually the 21st. I guess it could be within one or day before or after, but December 21st. And then there's Christmas on December 25th. And those celebrations at that time of the year are not just a coincidence. People recognize the importance of the changing of the seasons for a long time. And ancient people, going back, way back, many years, longer, going back much further before Christ than the amount of time that's passed since Christ. So this is the year 2023, about to be 2024. So that's a close date to the crucifixion of Christ, the amount of years that passes the crucifixion of Christ. I don't think there's any way to have an exact figure, but that's what it is. And for example, some amazing things about the time of human history. We think about how much time has passed in this age since Christ. But even in written history, that's still less than 50% of even written history, much less than, it's about 20% of written history. Usually consider written history to be about the past 10,000 years, maybe even a little more than that. And so 2,000 is 20% of 10,000. So humans have been writing and recording for 10,000 years, and the time since Christ has only been about 2,000 years, a little more. And of course, humans may have been writing back before that, and they were doing picture graphs and things like that even much further back than 10,000 years. I think the first known, the origins of written language are, from what I remember reading, in the Indus Valley And that was, I guess, early Sanskrit. Was the, I believe by most people's history, is that's considered to be the earliest known written language. But who knows? Things get uncovered and things get discovered. But it's probably right, because that's the major part of the human population early on was sort of in those warmer regions. There was humans had moved up to Europe and the Eurasia peninsulas, but they weren't a high population density. It was cold and tough up there. And then they had Neanderthals and whatnot, and who they communicated to. But yeah, so if you go back, like even I think I read Cleopatra, the famous Egyptian queen, she was back, I think, like, was that about Mark Antony, Cleopatra? That was just a little before Christ. I can't remember exactly how many years before Christ, but so it was like 100 years before Christ or something. But she's what's so interesting about that, you think that was a long time ago, and actually the building of the pyramids, where she's more closer, the time that's passed from her to us is less time than between her and the building of the Great Pyramids, or at least the Sphinx. The Sphinx is even older than that. So the Egyptian Empire was like more than twice as long as the time. Just the Egyptian Empire itself was more than twice as long as the time that has passed since Christ was on earth to today. So you try to put things in perspective, and so much has happened, and so little bit of it is preserved. Even one of the most interesting things is there's lots of what are considered to be great texts. We considered to be great texts, great books, works of literature, philosophy, that we consider them to be great because they were referenced, meaning that in other books and texts, they reference or talk about the lessons from these other great texts. Yet we don't even have the great texts that are referenced. So we know there was many great texts. We even know the names of the texts, but we don't actually have the text itself, which is really interesting, right? So who knows what's out there to be discovered? History is a really interesting thing. It's interesting because it's all like a big puzzle and mystery, so it makes us use our mind a lot, and so it's very good in that way. But then we also learn and uncover things about ourselves and about humanity. And even though we have all this great technology, it doesn't mean there's still not things that we can't learn from past civilizations. And also it helps us understand where a lot of what we believe and how our culture functions, why it is the way it is to some extent. It helps us give us better insight into things like our religions, our holidays, the way that we perceive nature and right and wrong, and all these different things. Laws, the progression of laws. A lot of times it gives us a lot to be thankful for, because there's lots of things that civilizations did in the past that we've tried to perfect a lot. One of them being the legal system. With all its current flaws, it still has a lot of room for improving. It's a lot better than what it was at different points in times in the past. Just be grateful for every day. Enjoy this beautiful planet. Be thankful for your life. That big furry dog you got, your brothers and your sisters, your mama. I love you.